Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. I just finished tuning up a reel. It's a classic. It's from the 1970s or early 1980s. It's a made in Japan Zebco. It's the Zebco XLR 35. And of course, after I finished tuning this one up, I thought maybe there'd be folks out there that would like to see how this reel is made, how it comes apart, how it's serviced, and how it goes back into usage. So I thought I'd do a short video to show you that, and we'll explain the service tips and how this whole reel comes together as I go about doing that. So the first thing to do is to remove the exterior parts, and that involves taking out the screw on the side plate which holds the handle in. You will not be able to remove the side plate case with the handle attached. So while I'm doing this, I want to thank our first responders and essential personnel and everybody that's involved in keeping us safe during this COVID epidemic. Your efforts truly are heroic. You are our local hometown heroes. I appreciate everything it is that you do. Fire, rescue, police, all of the folks involved recently with saving us during the recent hurricane, in addition to doing all the stuff involved in the pandemic. Thank you. Okay, the handle is out, or the handle screw is off. Now you can remove the handle by pulling that out. And now there's 3 side plate screws that you need to remove in order to take that side plate case off. When I do this, I like to switch my anti-reverse to the off position. You'll see why in a moment, but it has a rather unique setup, which is one of the reasons why I thought it would be interesting to do this reel. So Zebco's been around a long time. Zebco stood for the 0-hour bomb company. And in the 1950s, they simply changed the abbreviation over to Zebco, and it was formed in Oklahoma, and they started with the closed-faced reels. When spinning reels became popular, Zebco went and acquired Langley, which was making spinning reels, and then started introducing spinning reels by themselves. Initially, Zebco made the reels in the U.S., but over time they started sending them out to Japan, and that's where this one was made, and then on to China and other low-cost producers. But this style of reel is very typical of the 70s and the 80s in Japan. It has a metal case. It has an inner spool as opposed to the skirted spool which comes over the top. This would be an example of a skirted spool where it comes on top of the rotor rather than in the rotor cup. And fairly easy design, easy to maintain, reliable, and steady in terms of performance. So let's take this case side off. We'll show you how it comes together. So the case is removed, and again you can see that it's all been cleaned and lubed and is ready to go fishing. And this one is held on by a pin and a crosswind arm that keeps the reel proper. So you want to remove the pin. To remove that pin, just simply grab a piece of pliers or use your hand, and you can pull that pin out. That's going to release the spool assembly, so you can pull the axle shaft up. Now, you want to make sure when you're servicing this reel, you want to clean that axle shaft in a light coat of grease. Once you do that, you can remove the swing arm, and looks like I missed a little bit of grease on the back end of that, but that swing arm is going to provide the oscillation. You have an off-centered circle here. As that gear turns, you'll notice it goes high-low, and with the axle shaft attached, it's going to push that high and low to make the reel spin. There's a little shim washer that belongs between there and the case. Interesting to note on the case that there is no bushing or burring. It's simply a molded case that accepts both sides of the main gear. I'm going to remove that main gear to show you the next part. Again, on this side we only have a molded case, no burring or bushing. I'm just going to leave the parts on the table for now. And to remove your rotor, you're just going to want to pull up on this horseshoe or U-clip here that's holding it in place. Once you do that, you can remove the rotor. You want to clean out the assembly underneath, check for dirt, check the teeth. Again, these are are relatively recently serviced and have the grease in them. You want to oil the trip lever that's going to work off the bail. You want to oil the bail points. Use a fishing reel oil. In this case, here's one from Lucas. Just make sure you get some oil into the seams of the bail and onto the bail's line roller, and that'll be sufficient. Work it in, and this trip will be moved out. You can see it moving out when it goes to set the bail, and then it's going to run off of this little ramp here to bring it in to close it. So that's your service issues on this. Grease that, bring that back into the case. Make sure that it is seated properly so that you can see the little slot here. And then when that slot is available, you can go ahead and put the clip back in. And again, this is typical of a low-end reel setup made in Japan in the time. All right, once you do that, you can put your main gear back on. Make sure that you check your main gear's teeth, that they are all in uniform position, that there's no chips, cracks, bends, or otherwise. And then go ahead and put some grease onto the shaft on both sides and put the main gear back in. On the main gear, you'll notice you got a couple of things going. We mentioned that offset circle. That offset circle moves up and down to move your axle shaft up and down. And then here you have the teeth that are going to accept that anti-reverse dog. So that's what's going to stop the reel from spinning backwards. And this is your anti-reverse dog on the back end of the case. And then we have an override lever for that dog to make that work. Okay, we want to just reinstall. Then you're going to grease the main shaft, insert the shaft through, and then take your crosswind arm, put it over the circle, line it up with the track in the back of the case here. That's where the half of the pin is going to ride. And then bring your axle shaft down so that you can align the hole in the axle shaft with the hole in the crosswind arm. Kind of goes like that. Take the pin that we took out earlier, bring that in, bring that through the hole in the arm, and then work it so that you can get that into the hole on the other side of the crosswind arm. That takes a little bit of kind of wrangling, but eventually it will seat properly. And when you just have that little stud remaining there, then you're all the way in. So don't try and force it anything more than that, because that little stud is going to ride in this track of the case on this side. So just need a little bit of a tag end, which is over here. That's going to ride. When you go to reinstall, then set your anti-reverse up a little bit, bring it behind, and then you should be able to snap the case by just a quick little twist of that piece. Whoops. That was a whoops. I looked at my parts tray and I noticed that I didn't put in the little shim washer that kind of holds that crosswind gear to its track. So in this case, you get to see this again. We're going to set the anti-reverse so that it's pointing upward, bring it in. You'll get a little gap, and if you close your anti-reverse over, well, you've moved it to the off position, but you've locked the case in. There's 3 screws to go then. So if you enjoy these types of videos, if you have a reel that you'd like to know more about, well, then if you subscribe to my channel, you'll see the reels that I work on, and you'll get an idea of those that you want to watch. If you hit the notification button, you'll see them all. I work on vintage reels like this one. I work on spinning reels. I work on conventional reels, trolling reels, all kinds of bait casters, low profile, or the reels like the Abu Ambassadors and the like. And the best way to know what I'm working on at the moment and to see those that you would like to view is that subscription and that notification. If you have a question on a reel, maybe you're working on a reel and you get stuck, well, I'm happy to provide guidance if I can. Certainly I'll try and answer your questions. I'm good at some, I'm not good at others, but if I don't know the answer to your question, I'll try and point you to some source that may know that answer. And if you do that, if you have that question, leave it in the comments section. I'll be happy to provide you with that information. Okay, we just tightened the 3 case screws. We have the arm. This is an interchangeable arm, so if you wanted to set it up on the other side, you could. And now we take that screw and we put that back in. I hand tighten first to make sure that the threads are working. Then we'll put this back on. I know it's going to work already because I already did this. This is for a demonstration, if you will. You want to tighten that up so that you take the slack out of that reel handle. Now, because of the way we set this when we brought it in, that anti-reverse is off. Now you can hear it on. And I get questions every now and then, is there a way to eliminate the sound of it? The answer is no. But this is a beautiful example of a Zebco reel. It's the Zebco XLR L35. Somewhere in the 1970s or early 1980s, made in Japan, and solid, simple design, easily serviced, that enables you to go fishing for a long time to come. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, please like it. And again, if you want to see more, please subscribe. If you are a first responder, thanks again. If you know a first responder, please thank them. So this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Please stay well, stay safe, stay watching, and have a great day.